Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today I'm going to be working on this little spruce which I grew from a seed. I want to get it into a little plastic bonsai training pot and see if I can develop this into something. It's a nice double trunk and I think it's a beautiful tree. This was a seed that I picked up on a neighboring street about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I think it's 3 years old. Actually, so it'll be going into its 4th growing season. So let's give this one a try and see what kind of roots we've got in this little pot I made. I saw these little pots at the dollar store, and because they had feet, I thought, well, that would make a nice little training pot. So I drilled a hole in the bottom and a hole in the bottom of each one of these feet, because that's where water would collect. And it's been growing here since it sprouted the year I planted it. So let's get it out of this pot and see what we've got. Just going to run this around the side, although I don't think there's anything holding it in here. I think it's just going to spill out. It's been in some pretty coarse bonsai soil. There are a lot of roots. So I'm going to have fun with this. The roots do not look like they are awake, even though this has been in the greenhouse all winter long, and it is growing beautifully. It was one of the first to come to life. I'm going to be putting it in this plastic bonsai training pot. It looks like a dead root. There's a screen at the bottom of this, which I'll try to peel away. I'm just going to take this outside and wash it off, and we'll be back and work on it. All right, the roots are a little problematic. I don't have a really defined root plane. And there is kind of a taproot on here that kind of scoots around. So maybe the thing to do is to cut that off, or cut part of it off. It does go flat, so well, that helped. Let me cut off the long pieces on here. And I think no matter what I do, this high one has to come off. That doesn't leave me with much, but I think it's enough to sustain this tree. At least I hope it is. Now I'm going to take off some of the old needles so that the double trunk is a little bit more visible. While I'm doing this, take a look at this picture. That is a barberry seedling. The seeds were sent to me by Buffalo Bonsai, Andrew. Some of you may have come across his channel. And this is what I would consider a true double trunk. That was coming up from one barberry seed and 2 trunks. So I'm very anxious to see what that turns into. Thank you again, Buffalo Bonsai. That was a cool gift. A lot of other seeds as well. He also sent me some morning glory seeds, which I'm going to sow pretty soon outside. Have them kind of grow up along a chain link fence in my yard. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is I'm considering sending some wire up to separate these two just a little bit. Or maybe I'll put a piece of wood in there just to separate them a bit. I'll get the rest after I've got this planted up. That should be enough to sustain this little tree. All right, I've got a screen in here. I'll put a little base layer of soil in, and we'll get this tree planted up. All right, here comes the soil. You take it up pretty high, and I'll plant this just a little off center. Right about there. I do want the roots to develop, and I would like a nice radial root system on this tree and some nice root flare at some point. I'm not going to put this outside until I'm sure the weather is plenty warm consistently. Let me get a better view on the camera. That's a beautiful little tree. I'm going to keep the soil a little bit higher for now while the tree develops, and I'll keep raising it up with each repot. My little 4-year-old neighborhood spruce. I don't know what variety of spruce it is, but it's a beautiful tree. That's in there pretty good. The roots are all covered. I'm going to go dunk water this and put it on the bench in the greenhouse. That's my little spruce from seed. Let me spin it around for you. And hopefully this will develop into a nice double trunk tree. Not a true double trunk, but one that divides about halfway up, maybe a third of the way up. And I want to thicken this one up this year nicely. Hopefully this amount of root mass won't have mattered. And once again, I turn to Nigel Saunders for inspiration in root pruning. Okay, thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.